Gary, I'm going to spotlight you to kick us off tonight.
All right. Thanks for having me back, David. Oh, sacred night. Oh, holy light. This evening in December, a night I will remember through time. Oh, smile so bright. Oh, what a sight. This family I have chosen has caused my heart to open so wide. And there's peace in this room, grace in the air. God is among us, Emmanuel. Oh, sacred night, oh, sacred night. Oh, face of life, oh, love's delight. This miracle I'm seeing revealed in every being tonight. And there's grace in this room, peace in the air. God is among us, Emmanuel. Oh, sacred night, oh, sacred night. Mercy makes its home here in the manger of my soul. All is well, all is well. Oh, sacred night, oh, holy light. This evening in December, a night I will remember through time. Oh, sacred night, oh, sacred night, oh, sacred night, oh, sacred night.
Thank you, Gary. Wow. Okay, I think I can have a service now. Thank you for transporting us instantaneously with your music. So I wanted to welcome our guest speaker, David Bartley. And David, it's so good to have you here.
So I don't know if you have had the say the challenge. I don't like to use the word problem, but finding the right and perfect gift for a specific person, or there may be some of us, myself included, that still have a little bit of Christmas shopping to do, even though we're only 11 days out. And I want to offer us a little bit of a different perspective on this. I want to actually tell us that actually all our shopping is done. And it's actually been done for quite a while because we actually have a treasure trove, a storehouse of gifts that we can give, not just on the upcoming 25th, not just if we are in Hanukkah, but we can actually give these. And the universe is pleading with us to give these every single day for the balance of our time here on the planet. And that is the gift of experience. And let me give you a story to put a little context around this. So it's 9 years ago. It is the weekend of Father's Day, and it's on a Friday. And I had been working, it had been a great week of work in the mortgage business, which I was doing after I had completed my time doing this animal sanctuary with my first bride. And I had a white Honda Civic. It was really kind of like a matchbox car, but it got me from point A to point B as I was moving my life into a new direction and heading home and excited for the weekend. And I looked ahead, and what I saw was a green light. And just for one of those nanoseconds, those fractions of a second that maybe one or two of us here have looked down for just a moment. And when I looked back up, the light had somehow turned from green to red. And in my path was not a clear way, but a beautiful metallic blue Corvette. And it and I were going to have, let's just say we were going to have a connection. And there was that horrific sound, a crash, and hit the back of this beautiful car. And immediately I panicked in the sense of, oh dear God, what next? And I looked, and when you can look and you can see the eyes of the driver who's in front of you in the rearview mirror and head, and those were like daggers. And then he is pointing to his right with a great amount of passion for me to follow him into the parking lot that is just over, it's just to the right hand side. And so I think, oh, this is doomsday. What kind of hell have I put myself into? And so we pull up, and now I'm next to his vehicle, and I jump out first, thinking, well, maybe it's not as bad as it sounded. And I ran to the back and I looked around, and I'm like, oh no. And all of you probably know here, but if in case that you don't, a Corvette has a vertical back. There is no bumper at all. And I it wasn't so much, remember when we were growing up and your peanut butter's in my chocolate? No, your chocolate's in my peanut butter. No, my white flakes of my car were in the blue of his beautiful, now less than perfect Corvette. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I still don't know who the person is that is driving. And it seems like this, I'm in purgatory because it takes like forever. And out stands like the epitome of masculinity, probably 20, 22 years old, has a cutoff t-shirt. His muscles are enormous. He's wearing a Charlie Daniels Band baseball cap. And like, oh no. And he looks at me, not, with more, I don't know what kind of, it was more indifference and I don't know, but it was interesting. And then as he walked down, I won't forget this, as he walked down the side of his car, he dragged his hand along the side where it was still perfect. And then he turned and he looked at the damage, and then he looked at me. And then he looked at the damage again, took 2 steps forward, bent down, and put his hand across the pristine part of this vertical space, and then the bumpy part, and then he went like this, and there was white paint on his fingers. And I thought, come on, still no words. And now I've never been in a fight in my life, and I've done what I think is kind of a power move. Let me put my left leg forward and my right leg back, and let me kind of center myself. And he takes 2 steps forward, and he says, "I forgive you, man." And I I said, "What did you say?" He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He said, "I forgive you." He says, "You're okay. I'm okay. I forgive you, man." And then I burst into apologies and take just, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It was just a second. I didn't mean to do it. He said, "Hey, hey, 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 it's okay." He says, "My name's Jason. What's your name?" "My name's David." Like, it's David. It's okay. We're gonna get through this. And I'm like, "Well, here, let me go and get my insurance information, and I'll give you my cell phone and everything else." And I jump into my car and I get my information. I give it to him. The whole time, this young man is he's calm, he's collected. Not only that, he's compassionate, he's kind. I can't process all this kind of anxiety and compassion. Like those two things don't necessarily go together. And so I give him the information, and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He says, "Brother, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay." I'm like, wow. So I watch him go into his car. He grabbed his gym bag. The poor man was just trying to go have a workout, and he's making his way to the gym. And then I get in my car, and then I call my insurance company, and I'm, go through all the prompts, and then I'm talking to the person. At the same time, I'm kind of watching him walk and think, wow, what a great guy. And then he turns around, and I think, Okay. Now he's walking with somewhat of a rapid pace back towards me. And I think, rut-row, it's just not, this can't be good. And now I'm in the car. Now he's here. So he's kind of got the power position over me. And he said, Hey, David. I'm like, yeah. He said, Is your deductible about $500? I said, Yeah, that's actually exactly what it is. He said, Hey, brother, how about we do this? How about you just write me a check for 500 and then we'll call it even. That's it. And I said, Jason, that's got to be more than $500 worth of damage. He said, David, I've been in the spot before, man. I don't want your insurance rate to go up. I can get it handled. It's okay. And so I handle the transaction and so have an amazing weekend in being awashed in this forgiveness, in this understanding, all these different things. And go on Monday to a dear friend of mine, Bryce Jessup. He has since made his transition. And he and his wife Joe became very good friends. They were the son of William Jessup, as in William Jessup University. And Pastor was an amazing man. I met him in the gym in his 80s, and we became again very, very close. And so Monday I couldn't wait to see him. I said, Pastor, I got to tell you this story. So I tell him the story, and he looks at me and he said, Well, David, that's strength grown tender. And I'm like, Pastor, I don't understand. What do you mean? He says, Well, David, there are certain people, men and women, who have an inner strength, they have an inner fortitude, they have an inner force that they don't need to dominate somebody. They don't need to just overwhelm somebody. They can instead articulate strength through a way of kindness and understanding. This young man, that's what he did. And he said, David, he gave you a gift of an experience. And I'm like, Well, what do you mean, Pastor? And then he went on to talk about that, the four-step process to what we see as an action. It starts, everything we do in life is based on a belief. Everything. There's nothing that we don't do that's outside of a belief. And belief and truth are not the same thing. Belief, by definition, is an unwavering confidence in something that doesn't require evidence. So you can make it up, and that's okay. But oftentimes we are convinced, well, just because we believe it means that it's true. But all these beliefs inspire all our thinking. You can't think outside of your belief. It's like going to Germany and you expect to speak German, but you've never taken a class of German. So you realize that your foundation of belief creates the foundation of thought. We know that through unity. That the foundation of thought gives rise to your emotions. We emote from where we are, and then our emotions drive our actions. And I'm like, wow, the simplicity of it. And he said, the beauty of it, if you don't like who you are, change your beliefs. And I said, Well, how do you do that? He said, What you do, the only way to change a belief is to avail yourself, to seek, to make yourself open to new experiences. Because every experience, no matter a cup of coffee with somebody, a 12-step meeting, a time in a psych ward, a broken leg, whatever it is, a new relationship, an end of a relationship, every experience that we have either creates a new belief, adds to an existing belief that is helping us, or helps us dismantle a belief that no longer serves us. So in this season of giving, what came to mind as I thought about Pastor Jessup and thought about this story is I know that the universe, as mentioned in the beginning, is pleading with us to be the eyes, the ears, the nose, the legs, the arms, every physical part, so that it can manifest, articulate, project into a world that, especially right now, is in desperate need of gifts of experience. And our responsibility is not to, we don't need to worry like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they're going to like this. Does it fit? No, that's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to be the mechanism, the mode through which the universe articulates. And I'll offer three ways. So as my beloved brother said, I went to the Pentagon. So my work primarily is in the realm of mental health, and I talk a lot about suicide awareness. And I'm offering the Pentagon, the Army in particular, like, you know what? With all due respect, I don't think the path that we've been on, which has been helpful, I think we need to make a change. And so we need to do some different things. And so I was invited to give this, they call them briefs in the military, I think I said, to some very high ranking people. That was just it was an amazing experience. And one of the things that I'm really big on is names. Because I think, if I were to ask here, I mean, how many people here are good with names? For my brothers and sisters here, I'm not sure. Maybe some of you would say that you are, and many don't, because there's an intimidation about it. Well, I'm going to forget it or anything else, and so I give people the opportunity to practice that. The next time you go to a convenience store, 7-Eleven, AM, PM, there's going to be a soul behind the counter. That soul knows their name. You know who the name tag is for? That would be us. And I've talked to these people. They'll work 6, 7, 8 hours, and not a single person will call them by their name. Not a single one. So next time you go, please call them by their name. Gary, my God, thank you so much for helping. And here are my two go-tos that I always ask. One is, hey, is today your Monday, your Wednesday, your Friday? Because they almost never work a regular. And if it's their Friday, I'm like, oh my gosh, do you have plans for the weekend? And then if they have a tattoo, this is the best. I'll say, hey, could you tell me the story about this one here? People love to tell their story about that. It's just a simple way. What is it? It's a gift of inexperience. It is that we don't know what's going on. We don't need to know what's going on. Our job is we are the Amazon of the universe. That's what we're supposed to do. So the great Josh Allen is the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. I'm not necessarily a Buffalo Bill fan, but I love this young man. And everything I read about him is he's just like he is a great dude. And last year he won the Most Valuable Player award. He was the best player in all the NFL. And in his MVP speech, he specifically, in addition to his fiance and his parents and his coaches and his teammates, he called out Slick Rick. Well, who is Slick Rick? Well, Slick Rick is the older black gentleman who had worked for the Buffalo Bills for 15 years in the mailroom in seemingly obscurity. And here is Josh Allen, the most valuable player in the NFL, specifically calls him out by name. They interviewed this beautiful older gentleman, and he said as soon as it happened, his phone blew up. People were like, "Did you hear what Josh Allen just said?" And then the community got a hold of it. Come to find out that this man had been driving, he'd been taking the bus for 25 years. The community bought him a car. One time, one gift of an experience changed this man's life, and all Josh Allen did was to say his name. That one thing. So the other thing that the way that we can do is we got to express how we feel. So three quick stories. I'm going to put this pug down for a second. So at the Pentagon, there's 35,000 people there at any one time. And I'm a hugger. I'm a say hi. And I've been working in the military now for quite a while. I can recognize great rank. And so as Samantha, who is my handler for the whole day, I mean, they wouldn't even let me carry my own stuff. They said, no, Mr. Bartley, we'll carry it for you. I said, please teach my children. I beg of you. So as I'm going around, I'm seeing these people. I'm just saying, hi, Admiral. Hi, Colonel. Hi, ma'am. I'm just doing my thing. I'm not, because I have a fulfillment. The reciprocity in this is incredible. So Samantha and I are together all day for 8 hours, all these different meetings and briefs and everything else. And as we're getting ready to finish up her day, she says, Mr. Bartley, I got to tell you something. I've been in this building for 9 years. I've never seen that many people smile in all that time. The gift of an experience. So I was in the grocery store the other day, and there was this woman, mom. She was a mom, and her daughter was maybe about 4 years old. And just as the universe obviously needed me, we were kind of always in the same aisle as we went in the store. And there was something about, and I said this with David and the others in San Francisco this morning, there was something about the way that mom and daughter talked back and forth that was really, I guess you could say it was holy. It wasn't baby talk. It wasn't adult talk. There was just some sacredness, some empowerment, some endearment, it was amazing. I was so struck by it. And so I'm thinking, because, okay, gift of an experience. And I'm like, this might be a little cringy. Am I like following you and like, stalking you? And so I finally say, you know what? I'm not to myself. I'm not going to say anything. It's okay. It's time for me to check out. I make my way about 3/4 to the checkout line, and the universe like, no, Baldy, turn yourself around, turn me around, and I go, and there's mom and daughter are looking at something, and I said, excuse me. I said, I just have to say, just we've kind of been in the same area the whole time in the grocery store. And the way that you and your daughter have spoken to one another is it's amazing to me. I don't even really have words to describe it, but I'm left in this space. I just said I had to tell you. She looks at me and pauses for a bit and gets a little teary and says, "Thank you so much, because a lot of time I feel like I don't do enough." And that experience gave me this stark, and I say that in a positive sense, like come to Jesus moment, like because of some ego goofy crap that I made up in my head, like, oh no, this is weird. I almost missed the opportunity to deliver a message from the universe that this woman needed to hear. Like I almost missed the I almost missed the gift exchange. Like I almost was late to the party. And by the grace of God, I wasn't. And the last is, what we see is almost never what is. There's always a story. And Mr. Rogers said it best. He said, quite frankly, there's no one you can't learn to love once you know their story. And I'm the youngest of four. Probably I've said this before. My three brothers are my three heroes. My eldest brother did 42 years in the Army, became a two-star general. And when our father died, when he was just 40, my brother was 18, I was 7. My brother stepped in as my dad, and he continues to this day. So every day, every day, my brother, he lives in Illinois. I live, of course, in California. I grab my phone because there's going to be a text from my brother, from my dad, and it's always in 4 parts. First part, he tells me what he's doing that day. Second part is his advice, his encouragement, his suggestions to me. Third part is a motivational quote. And the fourth part is a sentiment. His is always the same: love you. So, like in the last, let's say 2 years, you know how many days he's missed? 0. 0. And I tell people, do this for one person in your life. I call it the general's way because somebody said, you got to teach this. So I call it the general's way because you know what isolation and despair and hopelessness can't stand is consistency. It is. And then the closing story, because I say, I know for me, sometimes, okay, this is a teaching moment. We got to, I got to really make sure that. So I've been working in the mortgage business for a while. I was achieving some success and made the horrific choice to falsify a document. Got caught and got fired. So at this time, my dad was still active duty. So my dad is a graduate of West Point. The honor code of West Point is a cadet shall not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. So I'm thinking, I'm screwed. And not only am I screwed, I'm out. I falsified this verification to help somebody get a loan. And I'm like, there's no way. Like I'm done. And his response was very much like the young man at the beginning of the talk. It wasn't about condoning it. He said, okay, let's see what we got here. Let's look, let's break it apart. Where did you go wrong? How do you what we would say now is, what was your belief that had you think and feel and do those things? What can we do better? What amends do you need to make to whom and whom and whom? But just the gift of the experience, not only being taught something, but also being saved dignity, not having my nose rubbed in it, like, oh, do you come on, oh, it's all these things, strength grown tender. So here at the end, what I would say, I've been blessed to travel a lot and continue to, and the amount of suffering that is out there is pretty extraordinary. And yet I continue to be amazed at the power that we all hold in our hand when we take the time to remember somebody's name, to ask somebody's name, to spell their name correctly, to pronounce it correctly. When we take the time to send somebody a text, to write them a letter, to say, wow, you know what? I just got to say something. That's wow. Man, that coat is looking amazing on you, whatever it is. And when we see something we don't understand, let's leverage curiosity to arrive at that sacred mutual place of understanding so that we both are adorned and rich. Let's make this holiday season an opportunity where we take Christmas as not just one day of the year, it's 365 days a year. And we honor that celebration, the birth of the Christ presence, maybe not, of course, in unity in the sense of an actual human being, but what's within each and every one of us. So with that, I will say, I send you all my love and thanks and blessing to each and every one of you, especially my beloved brother David, and thank Gary for that incredibly melodic and really angelic song. So